All right, so we have made it to the Warriors' fourth championship in franchise history, and their first championship in 40 seasons. A big drought for them, but finally in 2015, they got a great team together and started this new era of Warriors basketball, this dynasty era, with the likes of Stephen Curry, Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, many others that were great and helped them in this championship dynasty of winning 3 championships in the 2010s. But this was the first one. It was very memorable for me as a Warriors fan, growing up in this era. MVP of this finals was Andre Iguodala. Of course, I'm going to wear that Iguodala jersey for this video because he was very efficient in this series off the bench, more so known as a sixth man, and he was very efficient, averaging just over 16 points per game and great defender in this series as well. And I also got my 2015 NBA Champions hat. Yeah, this was a memorable series between the Warriors and the Cavaliers. It was, a definitely interesting season because it was LeBron James, his first season back with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Of course, he had left previously and went to the Miami Heat and played, quite a few seasons with them, winning championships as well. But the Warriors took this series in 6 games, and like I said, it was the start of a new chapter of Warriors basketball, a completely different era than the previous championships. And there was, of course, 40 years of, hardly any playoffs, really, and no championships. And finally, this team got it together and won it. They were very, very good. And the Warriors, of course, had to overcome a lot of stuff in the regular season, but really all their good players broke out and got really good. So this was a great series. Game 1, the Warriors took Game 1, 108-100. This game was at Oracle Arena in Oakland, and a very memorable game because the Warriors had pretty good comeback in this game. LeBron James was incredible in this game for the Cavaliers, but the Warriors knew how to contain him and get points of their own. LeBron had 44 points in this game. Of course, Kyrie Irving was great as well in this series. He had 23 points. And Kevin Love was injured, in this series as well, but he was obviously a big contributor for the Cavaliers in their championship run. But yeah, for the Warriors in this, though, they had a really good game 1 from Stephen Curry. He had 26 points, 11 from Harrison Barnes, who, of course, was a very good role player in this era of Warriors basketball as well. Of course, unfortunately, he wouldn't spend too long with them when it was all said and done, but he was very efficient in the 2015 finals. And Draymond had 12 points, 21 for Klay Thompson, and, of course, Andrew Bogut was a great defender, and he had some good defensive plays, too. Iguodala, though, off the bench was very impressive, 15 points off the bench. +8, +-, and he, definitely was a very accurate shooter in this series. I mean, in this game, he shot 75%, and I think Iguodala, this was like his moment, him coming off the bench and proving people that he is a legit player as a sixth man. And, yeah, this was a great game 1, 108-100, and the Warriors got their first finals game win in, a very, very long time. So that was great to see. Now, in game 2, Cleveland took game 2 in Oakland, 95-93. It was a very close game. This game obviously featured a very good game from LeBron James once again. I mean, I think if the Cavs won this finals, LeBron undoubtedly would have won finals MVP. He had 39 points in this game. Timothy Mozgov, who was the center for the Cavaliers, had 17 points. And Matthew Dellavedova, he got the start in this game. He had 9 points and also played really good defense on Stephen Curry. That was a kind of a notable turning point in this game. Just Dellavedova locking up Stephen Curry. And because of that, Curry didn't really, he had 19 points in this game, but he obviously was contained. But Klay Thompson in this game was very, very good in game 2. He had 34 points, 10 for Draymond Green. Iguodala had 7, 11 for Harrison Barnes, but the Warriors barely lost by 2 points, and that tied up the series at 1. And then the next game was in Cleveland in Game 3, where the Cavaliers took a 2-1 series lead with a 96-91 victory over the Warriors. And obviously, of course, these teams would have a lot of history playing each other in, preceding finals as well. So, this was just the first of many, but it was a very good finals, and Game 3 was a good game where the Cavaliers barely got the victory over the Warriors, 96-91. In this game, Curry had a great game, 27 points. Iguodala continued to play good off the bench with 15 points. And, David Lee, 11 points off the bench for him, but the Warriors just fell short. 14 points for Klay Thompson, but for the Cavaliers, great game from LeBron. 40 points in this game. He had close to 40 points in the first 3 games in every game. Tristan Thompson had 10 points. Dellavedova had 20, and the Cavaliers took Game 3. And, of course, the momentum kind of shifted at this point. But the Warriors would not lose another game in this series. They knew how to turn this around. They knew how to swing the momentum. This game was in Cleveland. Game 4 was also in Cleveland, and the Warriors blew out the Cavaliers 103-82 in an incredible game for the Warriors. Iguodala got the start. Obviously, like I said, very well known as a sixth man. And he was very good in that role. But he got the start in this game and got 22 points, which was tied for the most in the Warriors front with Steph Curry, who also had 22 points, 17 for Draymond Green, 14 for Harrison Barnes, and the Warriors got the sweet victory, 103-82, which was a very big margin of victory, 21 points. For the Cavs in this game, of course, Timothy Mozgov was really good. He had 28 points. Not super typical, like I said, for a center, but still really good. 20 for LeBron James. And, LeBron was just trying all he could to win these games, win for the city of Cleveland. That was his goal. And but the Warriors knew how to control this. And then in Game 5, the Warriors won 104-91 and took a 3-2 series lead. This game was back in Oakland, and it was a great victory for the Warriors. Definitely a good margin of victory. LeBron, once again, had 40 points. Really good game for him. But the Warriors knew how to control this game. Steph Curry, this was like the best game of the series for him. He had 37 points, 14 for Andre Iguodala, who, of course, got the start once again. I mean, I think Coach Kerr definitely knew that Iguodala was capable of doing a lot of good things in the starting lineup. And 16 for Draymond Green, 12 for Klay Thompson. And this was a good game for the Warriors overall, and they got the victory and were just one win away from their first title in 40 years after this one. So yeah, very good one for the Warriors. Now in Game 6, the Warriors clinched their first title in 40 years in the 2015 finals with a 105-97 victory over the Cavaliers in Cleveland. And in this game, Iguodala was incredible with 25 points. He was the X factor in this game. Of course, Finals MVP. And 16 points for Draymond, 25 for Curry. Klay Thompson also did good defense, and the Warriors got that sweet victory. LeBron James, like I said, did really good, though. He had 32 points, and the Cavaliers were close to winning this finals, but of course, we wouldn't see them win it until next year, but that'll be a separate video for another time. But this was a great Warriors finals. It was very memorable for me, like I said. It was really my first taste of victory. I'd never seen any of my other teams win a championship or even really go to one at this point in my life. So it was very much a big accomplishment. And, to see them win in like such a great fashion, like, playing this Cavaliers team that has LeBron and a lot of experience, and you're playing this Warriors team with not as much experience. And a lot of the guys we know now, like Curry and Klay, were still young and not as experienced as they were now. So it was a very great finals. Steve Kerr was a genius with making the starting lineups and whatnot, changing them around and whatnot, and just doing great things as a coach. And it was also his first really championship as a coach. He obviously had a lot of experience as a player, and I think Steve Kerr doesn't always get as much credit as he deserves. And the Warriors in this season were phenomenal. They were 67-15. At the top of the Western Conference by 11 games. The Cavaliers were second in their conference behind the Hawks, who of course played the Cavaliers in the playoffs. The Warriors had to overcome the Houston Rockets, which the playoffs in this season were also really good. The Warriors had to play, of course, the Pelicans, who were pretty good back then, and a lot of clutch moments from this, which was great to see. But yeah, this was a great playoffs overall. I mean, the Warriors defeating the Pelicans, it was the 1 seed versus the 8 seed, and then of course the Warriors defeating the Grizzlies in a pretty tough series, and then finally the Rockets to make it here. And this would be, the first of, I believe, 4 finals in a row between the Warriors and Cavaliers. So, first of many, but the Warriors show that they were a legit team that other teams needed to be scared of, and they won it 4-2. And of course, Finals MVP Andre Iguodala, phenomenal. Still, love that performance in that finals all the way to this day. So respectable. So, anyways, guys, Warriors won the 2015 NBA championship. It was their 4th overall championship, and so there's 2 more championships to cover after this. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I'll see you guys later, and go Warriors.